Welcome back to Wages of Cine's 31 Days of Horror. Not 30, like some other people have put in their reviews. Okay, so today we are looking at Crimson Peak. This movie released yesterday, which is when I saw it, yesterday. So, the first thing I'm going to tell you about this movie is that it has been marketed the completely wrong way. Okay, if you're going into this movie thinking, oh, I'm going to get some sweet Guillermo del Toro horror action stuff, or horror, just plain horror stuff, you're going to be sorely disappointed. So let me help you out here. This is a gothic romance. Actually, hold on. Let's switch these terms around. Let's say romantic gothic horror film. Not a horror film as it has been advertised. Okay? It is very much a romance story set in this Victorian Gothic time period, whatever you want to call it. In fact, the ghosts in this film, which are basically in every other shot of this trailer, don't really do anything in the entire film. They're kind of inconsequential to the entire plot. In fact, if you take all of the ghosts out of the entire movie, it would only maybe require a little bit of editing and tweaking it to make the story still make sense and be the same thing. So the ghosts are just there, I guess, to give our protagonist a little bit of a clue. But anyway, let's talk about the synopsis real quick. Our main protagonist, Mia Wachowski's character, which I'm terrible with names, she ends up marrying Tom Hiddleston's character, or Loki from Avengers, for those of you who are unfamiliar. Loki's character, or Tom Hiddleston, has a sister, Jessica Chastain, and played by Jessica Chastain, and they own this house. So basically, they come to America. Tom Hiddleston courts Mia Wachowski's character, and they end up going back to England, or wherever they're from. I think it's England. Anyway, that's where kind of the main start of the ghost stuff happens. And the ghosts really, they only serve the plot to kind of point Mia Wachowski's character in the general direction for her to find stuff out, which is kind of unfortunate. I almost wish, because so her character is a writer, an aspiring writer, and it's shown early on that she's kind of she may be a literary guru. She's kind of into that type of thing, and it's shown that she has that background with ghosts. I would almost rather have seen, instead of ghosts leaving the breadcrumbs to leading her to figure out what's going on with these two siblings of Tom Hiddleston and Jessica Chastain, the Sharp siblings, which is their last name. I would have almost rathered her character, Mia Wachowski's character, to kind of play a little bit of detective and figure things out on her own. It would have given her character a little more substance and made us feel like her character was in control of her own destiny in a way. But really, she feels almost like it feels like she's almost along for the ride. That and Guillermo del Toro opens this film with narration, which I'm not a fan of, because everything that is being narrated to us is being shown on screen. It's not anything we'd have to decipher, really. So I think the narration was a poor choice at the beginning. Having said that, I'm hitting on a lot of negatives here. I'm a huge fan of Guillermo del Toro. I've seen a lot of his films. Most of his new ones. I haven't seen his early ones, Devil's Backbone and Kronos. But Pan's Labyrinth, Pacific Rim, Hellboy, those, I think they're all great films. He's definitely Mimic. If you can see Mimic, I think those are great pieces that show off that director's talent and show his sense of being his auteur, and that comes across in this film. This film is beautifully shot. The cinematography is fantastic. The performances are great, particularly I think a standout performance from Jessica Chastain, who I'm also a big fan of. She was also in Zero Dark 30, Jolene. She's been in a couple other things. But and Jessica Chastain and Tom Hiddleston, they're kind of the standout performers. I've never been a huge fan of Mia Wachowski, mostly because I think all I've seen her in is Alice in Wonderland, and we all know how well that was. But I didn't hate her in this film, but I just didn't feel a strong character from her, and that's where I feel this film suffers. It's in the characters, it's in the plot as well. When you break down eventually what's going on, it's a very simple plot. There's not too much going on there, and I feel that we've come to expect a little more from Guillermo del Toro. I understand, say, in Pacific Rim, which I love that movie. I love every frame of that movie. I understand in Pacific Rim why you would prefer to make the characters, not focus on the characters, because you've got giant robots and kaiju fighting each other, Jaegers and kaiju fighting each other, which is amazing. So I understand, you kind of give that movie a pass on the characters, but this, I feel like, had you had a little bit more engaging plot and a little bit more stronger characters, I feel like this could have been his next big, like, you have to see this film by Guillermo del Toro. And overall, I liked it though. I'm a huge fan of this director. I think if you like this director, I think if you are a fan of how his films look visually, and I think there is enough there for you to like. The performances are good. The characters are a little shallow, especially Mia Wachowski's, and the plot is a little simple when it comes down to it, which is okay. I'm not saying the plot has to be some complex thing, but I just expect a little more from Guillermo del Toro. I think you'll still find enough if you're a fan of his or you like his previous movies. You're still going to find enough here to enjoy. Overall, I did enjoy this. So if you're a Guillermo del Toro fan, I would say go see it. Put it on your list. I enjoyed it. So this has been Wages of Cine's 31 Days of Horror. And if you want to check out freaking Crimson Peak here, check it out. I think you might like it. I enjoyed it. It's pretty good. Don't go into it thinking that it's going to be a straight up horror Guillermo del Toro movie, which I would love to still see him do. But don't go into the movie thinking that. Look for that. There's going to be romance. There's going to be things like that. But give it a shot. Let me know what you think if you've gone to see it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I would love to hear that. And make sure you subscribe to Wages of Cine and tune in tomorrow for more 31 Days of Horror.